Welcome back. SoaR going to be taking on Noble Esports for this matchup. SoaR, a surprising drop of 2 games last week to the undefeated Most Wanted. However, they did have a sub, and I believe Aggro is going to be back in the mid lane for this one.
Last time it was SamBam in mid instead of Aggro, but the first 2 weeks they did beat Eager and they beat Elevate.
Yeah.
So SoaR looking very strong. Whereas Noble, their only 2 wins came against Kingdom.
And that was just the other week. So we're going to be seeing here if they're going to be able to take on a top card North American squad in SoaR. And I don't know. I mean, SoaR's kind of the team that we kind of were thinking maybe would overtake Eager for that #1 spot. Looking really good. Chapo back in the jungle after weekend jungled for them during the qualifiers. Uzzy looking really solid, and kind of the synergy between their carries as well. Aggro playing kind of at the highest level we've seen from them.
They're the team that has the players with the most experience in the console side. We're very close to it.
All right, we're going to get into the picks and bans of Game 1, though. We'll see if SoaR can continue to soar up the standings. Get it? I'm not the first and I'm not the last to make that joke. And it's going to be as bad as it is every time it's said. Anyways, picks and bans. SoaR, first pick.
More than likely going to see the very typical style bans unless SoaR wants to take away the Wukong. And so it's going to be the Khepri taken away from SoaR. It's not something that we're used to seeing first banned. Normally we see the mages that are banned, the Zeuses, the Raijins, also the Wukong in the jungle, the Guan Yu specifically. And
we'll see what Noble Esports are looking to do. They could ban away the Susanoo. We did see... It was played okay, I would say, by Toasty. I mean, I think their team as a whole wasn't really able to fully utilize it, so they could leave that open if they're worried. And SoaR going to take out a Geb. Okay.
A lot of supports being off the table from SoaR. It leads me to believe that Elchapo is very comfortable with his God pool, and leads me to believe that they're targeting out Grattywind, making sure that he doesn't have these 2 gods.
I mean, yeah, I think Brotacho's probably one of the support players that is willing to play absolutely everything available to him. He's always had that really deep god pool, even in Ares, which typically we don't see out of North American players. That's more of a European style. And you really can't go wrong with Athena either.
It's going to be allowing you to set up any mid laner you really go, especially if it's going to be a Scylla or a Raijin that have that late game damage with an Athena taunt. SoaR is going to be very strong in these team fights if that's the case.
And HoYi going to be picked up there for Lou. He's going to be able to... I like this, though, kind of getting your Hunter. You know what support you're going to be playing against. You don't necessarily know what Hunter you are, but HoYi is always this character where your individual skill can carry you to a new level with like kind of the ricochet bounces.
It's always a highlight play whenever we see a ricochet off the wall, connecting even maybe a triple bounce, doing just that.
All right, triple bounce is kind of luck, right? I think the double bounce is definitely possible. Triple bounce is luck. Come on, man.
Is it really, though?
Sometimes. A lot of times, it's like, let me get in a really tight area and then press 1 and then cross my fingers.
I like the idea that SoaR has, picking the Willish just to be able to find the target onto the HoYi.
I mean, this is so much pressure. Isis, Awilix, one of the stronger 2v2s. Isis and Zeus kind of, and Raijin kind of the main 3 you're looking at if you're looking at mid lane push. And then, Thor, Awilix, those junglers that kind of put that out as well.
Just going to try to negate as much damage as possible during the Berserk Barrage. Feather stepping that is going to be a nice play coming out of SoaR. So with a lot of supports being banned, Sobek's going to be taken. It's going to be a very aggressive dual lane for Noble.
And I think the pick of Sobek there is important, because otherwise you're risking SoaR banning that away and leaving, likely they'll leave Bacchus up in a lot of situations. They'll be like, pick something with a jump, we're going to just have other options to counter you out here. Xbalanque going to be taken away here. Noble Esports could potentially look to take out other knockups, but it's going to be an Apollo.
Noble recognizes the fact that SoaR has a pretty strong support, not the best early game, so wanting to take away the Xbalanque and the Apollo for the late game hyper carry from SoaR makes it better to be aggressive in the dual lane.
And it's going to be Raijin and Cabrakan banned by SoaR, so they don't want that Raijin facing off against their Isis, and the Cabrakan in the soul lane. It's always something to worry about as well, but in that case, the Robin's locked in for Noble, so they will have that pressure there.
yoyoabc favoring these aggressive style solo laners. He really does. The last game we saw him, he was playing the Bacchus. It didn't really work out for him too much, so he's going to go back to the Ravana.
Yeah, I wasn't really the biggest fan of Bakasura, especially he went into the throwing daggers, and I think he had purification, not even teleport, so it was like he got pressured out
didn't have the sustain.
Pretty easily, didn't have the sustain. Sun Wukong has some sustain, though, in the soul lane, so a relatively safe soul laner, and a Cupid. Okay.
Taking a page out of Air Cougar's book.
Air Cougar. Zapman played this as well at DreamHack, and someone else played.
taking a page out of Air Cougar's book.
You always gotta. I bet you he just learns everything from Air Cougar. He just steals it all away.
Didn't steal his controller at Worlds, though.
No, he didn't. Chang'e gonna be the last pick there. I'm not sure. Is that actually a Chang'e in mid lane? That's what I want to know.
I would expect not, especially against an Isis. So you could technically use your immunities just to stop the stun, but it's still very risky.
Yeah, we'll see if it is the Chang'e in the middle lane here shortly. That's going to be really interesting, and it is a Chang'e on Supra. Okay, Purple Pot as well. We'll see a starter item soon. I don't know if it's going to be the Soul Stone or the Vamp Shroud, but you do have that option to kind of start with the Vamp Shroud, and then after you get enough gold, buy it with the Bunny, the Soul Stone as well, if you want to go the double starter, a little bit of the Zero style.
It's a nice, interesting thing you could do. And it's going to be SamBam actually subbing for aggro yet again this week.
And okay, so aggro's still out, so that'll be. And honestly, like I don't want to like say like SamBam played really well. It's just this is a team that has been together for a while, and I think the synergy probably going to be better there with aggro. But individually, SamBam is a phenomenal mid laner. He played for Eager last year, I believe, and he went to most of the land. So he is an accomplished player on console.
And you're going to have a lot of synergy between the Isis and the Awilix.
You bad. Stop it, Grattywind.
We need a yellow card here.
We need a yellow. Just throw up the yellow card. Do it again. You're getting the red. Yeah. You're just taken out of the game. You got to fight 4v5.
So yeah, speaking of the synergy that we were mentioning, the Isis and the Awilix synergy needs to be on point. Especially, again, you don't want to go into the mid game against a Chang'e that didn't go down earlier on.
Yeah, I mean, that's really what it's going to be about, pressure. And I do love what Noble have drafted into this, right? They have the Sobek Hou-Yi, so they have aggression in the dual lane. They've got the Thor for the jungle pressure, and they have the Ravana for the soul lane pressure. So they have pressure across the map to allow for this Chang'e pick to make it out of her weak early game.
And Isis, you can't really contest her early clear. She's going to be able to hit level 2 before most mid mages, and that should allow SoaR to get those right side mid harpies.
The question I'm going to have here is if we're going to see at 500 gold that Supra will elect to send the Bunny back and buy that other start item, or excuse me, 800 gold, not whatever I said. What did I say, 500?
Something like that. Shame neglecting to get those right side mid harpies, instead coming to the mid wave and making sure that the left side mid harpies does go into their favors. Neglecting the solo wave also allows yoyoabc just to get a little bit more solo farm.
I think the big thing here, though, is it's just making sure that Super gets guaranteed mid harpies, right? So they can split those on the left. They're going to go back and farm the back rights as well. So, I mean, overall, this is good, right? You're just trying to survive this Isis Awilix early game. And the thing about the Chang'e, too, is it's probably nothing SoaR's ever played against, so they're probably a little bit wary of what they have to do.
Unless they've been scrimming against it. So we'll see as it progresses throughout the game. I'm surprised that ElChapo didn't rotate neglecting the solo lane the same way Shame did.
And
I said Willish early on. You kind of want to try to force early fights, especially with an Isis by your side.
And it looks like that's what he's trying to do, trying to get in range of Shame there. But the experience lead is definitely in Chapo's favor. He was level 4 before that wave. And you could see Shame just hitting 4 at the end of the wave, though. Supra here. Send the Bunny back. Does he have 800? He's got 721. I just really want to know if he's going to go double starter. If he doesn't, I don't care about whatever he does with his build. I just want to know if he goes double starter. Come on, man. Send the Bunny back. Send the Bunny back. All right, 800. Here we go. Send him back. He's doing it. He's going to tower. No, he's doing back. He's not doing double star. You boring.
Nah, he's going to go boots 2. He's waiting for the 900 gold.
Why would you not? I mean, at that point, you could have just sent the Bunny back for boots 1 and had that extra little bonus.
That's true.
So he's misplaying.
Just trying to get more mobility.
I'm done with you, Supra. I'm done with you, Supra.
Gotta use your passive
Ooh,
whenever it's
look at this, though. Coming underneath the Isis and the Awilix, but Noble's already going to be in the mid lane. There's the hammer. This could be trouble unless he can hit 5, and Shame does. So he has that ultimate to escape it. He's quickly to go up. That would have been a dead Thor if SoaR were just a little bit faster to that lane.
Shame didn't take that much damage. That could have been a re-engage, considering the fact that the Isis wing gust was down and they had a wave advantage. Noble could have turned that fight around.
A little bit worried probably about the Isis ultimate, though. Nice feather step, not only going to secure those fire elementals, but also immune the damage from yoyoabc's Ravana.
Speed buff are coming back up for both teams, as it looks like Chang'e going to be able to clear the mid wave by herself, as Thor's waiting for the speed buff to respawn. Going to favor out Noble just a little bit.
Yeah, you could see Super going to be rotating, but followed quickly by Chapo. He definitely doesn't want Shame to get the speed buff for free. He knows that there's no speed buff. Oh, and he could find the root, but doesn't get it in time. There's the Athena ult. Still, this is a 4-man grouping, and a max range Spirit Ball going to make it hard for Shame to get in here.
Beautiful play from SoaR, committing to this invade with 4 people.
They're lined up.
3-man ulti coming from Super, but not much follow-up.
Oh, but here's Grattywind going to split the team as well, and it's going to be SamBam trying to stay alive. There's a circle protection, but he's getting chased down by the Ravana in the back line, and Supra finishes him off for first blood. So Noble getting started very early here. Sprint is popped, and SoaR going to back up, but it looked like a good invade. Quickly turned on its head.
SamBam just unfortunately a little out of position. That's the problem with Isis. You don't have that escape mechanic at your disposal. So once you get caught out, especially by a Chang'e ultimate, there's nowhere for you to go.
Yeah, and for those who don't know, because we've seen, I think, Chang'e twice in the Pro League. In the SCL, we haven't seen her all split. It's probably been a while. That ultimate, you know, you hit the first player and it's a 1-second stun. Any players you hit after that, there's an additional 1 second added to the stun. So that third person was stunned for 3 entire seconds.
And if you don't have purification, you're just going to have to go AFK for just a little bit. And SoaR taking the speed, but losing 1 member, giving first blood to Noble. Now Noble, in response, they could potentially look for a speed buff invade on their own.
You can see Gold's still dead even. So, I mean, SoaR's doing a little bit better job of farming up here. Brochacho is pretty low on health and Chapo's low on mana, so they're not going to be able to catch out Grattywind, but you called it. Here comes the speed invade here. This is going to be a 3v2 unless the soul laners can rotate in. Grattywind going to be swinging away, but Supra's already rotated to those mid-harpies. Shame is around the corner, though. He has ultimate on this Thor, and I think Noble are trying to bait a fight.
Looks like yoyoabc did secure. Grattywind is going to be picking up, so yet again, another fast croc.
Yo, Shame is so mad because he had his speed buff stolen by Chapo. And Grattywood's just, yo, let me get this. What is it with Sobek specific? Like, it's not just supports. It's if the support is playing a Sobek, they want the speed buff every time.
It's a nice idea because you pluck in easier, and on top of that, you're really quick with lurking in the water, making sure that no matter who the mid laner is, like, they're taking that damage.
It is affected by your speed, your movement speed. So there is that option. Grattywind, with that speed buff, still going to be off the mark on the pluck, in trouble for Shame. Can't escape in time, and now Supra... Now that he's dead, Shame's not really going to have a lot of follow-up. Over the wall is Lou, but it just doesn't seem like there's going to be enough to secure any kills here.
And Elchapo doing a lot of damage. Shame's going to fall. So far, two
the double tap from Lou
trade.
Around the corner. And Lou could fall in response, but good peel from Grattywind, going to find the knockup. KeegsMate dashes forward here. Doesn't have the heart bomb online just in time. It does come up, but he can't find the line. And that was a massive double tap from Lou.
That was a nice 2-for-1 trade in the favor of SoaR. So getting to the better end of that. Red buff not spawning on the side of Noble, so nothing to really invade unless Brochacho wants to take those back. So just going to elect to ward, allowing the Cupid to play really safe in the laning phase, get more farm up. So far, looking at the items, tier 2 boots coming for the Huyi.
And you could see, I mean, that was just... That was an interesting fight, right? Because it was kind of about the hunters rotating in, and both of them secured their own kill, but just kind of that follow-up on the end, pushing it in SoaR's favor. Just Shame, or Super, excuse me, like dying at the beginning.
So level 9 on the side of Elchapo. Uzzy in a lot of trouble, forced to use his ultimate away from Yo-Yo. So that could be an advantage for Noble to force a gank on top of Uzzy.
And yeah, I mean, that's a pretty long cooldown for that Somersault Cloud there, and no TP available for 10 seconds, so Uzzy gonna have to wait a little bit here if he wants to teleport back in.
Meanwhile, Yo-Yo's going to pick up those Fire Giant Imps, going to be able to clear out the wave before Uzzy comes back, and then going to secure his own blue. It's going to give him a nice little advantage in laning phase. I also like the idea of the double sentry wards coming online from Noble onto the solo lane.
Yeah, you will probably see an invade, or at the very least a gank coming out, right? Because it's... Especially now that Uzzy's ult is forced, I mean, Shame just has to take to the sky. I mean, that's going to be almost a guaranteed kill as long as they can time everything right. Mid-Harpy's going to go the way of SoaR. It seems one picked up and Noble backs off, so they're not going to be able to contest the second one. But I thought Brochacho was almost going to gank Super there.
You have to be so careful about turning corners against an Athena, especially with an Isis to follow up. And it looks like the Cupid was just going to Sentry Ward on top of the Gold Fury. Grattywind going to get taunted up, but no follow-up. elchapo still has his dash available to him.
Oh, this is actually a whole lot of investment, and Chang'e going to be knocked up and pulled, but he gets the Purification off in time. Oh, he ult over the top. Circle Protection will heal up, but it's not enough to keep SamBam healthy. He falls, and Chang'e hits a two-man stun, but there's no follow-up. That was absolutely perfect, hitting both on the edge of it.
King's going to make the rotation, but not really much going on. So would rather like to see him stay on the left-hand side, considering the fact that that team fight was over way before he got there.
Oh, but with pressuring out so many players, Noble now going to be able to start up the Gold Fury. You can see Brochacho charging up his dash. He wants to get in. KeegsMate is around the corner as well. The ultimate's available, but Brochacho flung into the team. There comes the Cupid ult, and it's going to do so much damage, and the Heart Bomb explodes. Take it out, Shame. The health is dropped, and you could see one more deep into it. Chapo finds Grattywind, and honestly, KeegsMate could go for another one more second. There's the dash, gets the kill, and now he's looking for super as well. No mana. Chapo around the corner, the knock up, the feather step, not going to connect. But quickly, SoaR turned it on the heads of Noble.
That was a 3-for-1 earlier on. SamBam did fall in the mid lane, but finding 3 members of Noble. Now it looks like SoaR is going to be able to force this Gold Fury, no problem. They do have the sustain from the Cupid Hearts. The ultimate from SamBam isn't even necessary here.
Yeah, and KeegsMate going to secure that with a Heart Bomb, and I thought Noble were going to start to look really good in this game, but they look for the pick on the Athena. I love the idea, but KeegsMate around the corner finds the 4-man ultimate inside the Fields of Love. It explodes, and it's just so much damage on this character.
I like the idea that Noble had. They were waiting for a pluck around the corner. They caught elchapo, but they all grouped up for the ultimate of KeegsMate and also the Heart Bomb, the Suku from
and they just had
Chapo.
no relics because of the early fights too, right? You look at the cooldowns, 95, 73, 70, 56. I mean, it was they had probably just used them at the beginning, so nothing to get out of that CC.
Just too much damage for Noble to handle. They don't have the sustain. SamBam with the red buff at this situation, getting back into the groove of things after dying earlier on, that's so huge in the mid lane specifically. Whenever you die like that, you have to figure out a way to mitigate your losses, and that Gold Fury helping him out a lot.
And this is an Isis who really wants to snowball, the early game as hard as possible here, and he's 0-2-2. Brochacho going to find a taunt onto Grattywind. He's going to be stunned, he's going to be rooted, and take a significant amount of damage. And look at that, the block from Uzzy catches Grattywind short of his intended destination. The circle protection not going to be enough, but Uzzy still diving really deep, needs one more bit of damage. And there comes the max range Spirit Ball, but GrattyWind's able to get out.
And Thor come landing in, not going to connect onto anybody. yoyoabc going to get taunted out. Sounds as well, overhead kicking 1v1 in the backside. Looks like favoring elchapo in the back. You're just going to zone away the Hu Yi. 4 members trying to defend this tier 1 tower. Keeks just taking some pot shots onto.
And Shame also going to throw his hammer out, but 5 members grouped by SoaR. However, they don't want to dive this tower, it seems. Playing a little bit safe. yoyoabc, though, walking straight into an Athena. Might be able to be finished off here, but escapes just barely, pops his health potion. I mean, that might have been enough to push him over that edge.
And the longer this goes, the more favorable it is for SoaR. They have these Cupid Hearts constantly just raining down, and every single time SoaR goes in, there's one more member disengaged from Noble.
Oh, Supra trying to get out. There's the knockup as well on a Grattywind, plucked back in, no purification on the support. And KeegsMate gets the kill, trying to heal up, but it seems like Noble want to keep chasing. SamBam very low. His purification going to help him out, though, and a Heart Bomb to yoyoabc as he presses forward stops him.
So tier 1 tower still stands. Did take about 50% of its health. They found the kill finally onto the Sobek. So the way SoaR started that engage, they constantly poking members away from Noble, utilizing these Cupid Hearts at their disposal. And the longer this goes, constantly SoaR is going to always find this tower poke.
And just, you can see the healing on board. Chang'e obviously doing the most right now, 2,000, but 1,000 from both the Isis's Circle Protection and from the Cupid Heart. So it's not something that you can just completely ignore.
And it looks like Chang'e is going to go for the Chronos Pen and trying to get some more sustain or some more cooldowns early on.
Also has extra, MP5. Chang'e is a very spam-oriented god, right? Especially when you go CDR. So having that extra and bonus MP5 is going to be very helpful for her.
The more Moonlight Dances you also get off, the better it is. Yep. Trying to avoid those Spirit Balls is very important.
And now you can see 6-3. SoaR still in the lead. However, it's not too insurmountable. 1,500 gold. Invade coming out from them as well. They want this red buff here, and Chang'e
Ultimate's available.
counters aboard.
Ultimate is available for Chang'e, so if there's too many members grouped up for SoaR, that's the one thing SoaR always have to look out for. The X factor is the Chang'e ultimate.
Oh, and they're all grouped up right there, and there it is. All 4 members connect, but there's no follow-up from the rest of the team. Look at that, SamBam is still stunned, but they just can't get to the back line in time.
And there's still a solo lane 1v1, but not really much going on there. Just trying to find the red buff invade. They finally do find it. They find the kill as well, so SoaR taking the small win.
Yeah, and Uzzy there getting pressured out, but I mean, he doesn't care too much. As long as yoyoabc isn't in these fights, this is a win for SoaR. And I mean, you just saw how long SamBam was stunned. It's just like, there's just not enough follow-up from Noble in that spot.
Shame didn't use his ultimate either.
I mean, if Shame ults, right, that's like a really good fight for them with Hoyi's ults over top.
Just going to force out Uzzy's ultimate in the solo lane. 13 minutes in, Gold Fury is respawning in about a minute or so. Gold in the favor of SoaR, about 1,500. Experience not too much either. At this stage of the game, Noble is still in control of their own destiny.
Yeah, they can definitely come back into this one, and Uzzy just going to get thrown some hearts as he got pressured out. You could see Shame had ganked that lane, but the Sun Wukong managing to get out actually at a pretty high amount of health, so maybe some miscoordination going on there.
Shame using his ultimate, not finding the kill. Gonna force out Uzzy to be a little bit more cautious now, not connecting on that hard bomb as Keegs. Right side mid Harpy is going in the favor of Noble. Now they're looking for maybe something in the mid lane.
But Brochacho, I mean, he's always kind of sitting around that same corner there. He's just been that frontliner that's been starting every engagement, and you can see he's actually maxed out his Confound, his taunt. A lot of times you'll see Athena's max out their shield wall, but I mean, there's so much damage on the SoaR lineup, right? The Isis, the Awilix, their Cupid, like he doesn't need to max his shield wall for damage, right? He has the clear.
Especially when you're a support Athena, you want to make sure you max out that taunt to allow the rest of your team to do the damage, because your items doesn't dictate your damage. Your allies does, so that's why the longer the taunt, the more beneficial it is for your teammates. However, in the solo lane, whenever you have an Athena, you want the shield wall for the clear.
Oh yeah, you got to clear. Like you try and clear with the taunt, that's not going to go over so well. Left-hand Harpies, I believe, go to SoaR. Chapo picks them up as SamBam clears out his mid lane. Still 0-2 and 4. SamBam kind of been getting dove in a lot of situations, but gold-wise, he's dead even with Supra, who's 2-1 and 0. A lot of that coming from that early gold fury that SoaR managed to pick up.
Chronos Pendant online for Supra as well, so more trades into the solo lane. yoyoabc with a 1-level advantage, but not the health advantage at the moment.
And Uzzy actually goes into a curse there. A lot of times you'll see meditation from Sun Wukong's, but wants to shut down, I think, Chang'e, right? So her healing is going to be reduced by 65%, and she's also just going to be able to be chased down so easily.
As well as the Sobek and the meditation coming online from Yo-Yo.
Oh, look at this setup. Brochacho and Chapo sitting around the corner, the cousins. Walk over a ward, though, and look at this. 3 members grouped up. Great taunt, and the Spirit Ball connects onto all 3. Heart Bomb hits Grattywind. He's forced to ult, and I mean, that was just an ability, right? And they've poked out 3 members. Gold Fury's up. Uzzy, trouble for him.
Force ultimate, trading 1-for-1 ultimates.
No overhead kick.
2 purifications was used during that taunt, as well as the Sobek ultimate. So beautiful positioning from Brochacho. Didn't even have to use the dash to secure that triple taunt. Very impressive.
And even if they don't get a kill there, I mean, this is still going to make it easier for them to start up this Gold Fury. Like you said, the purification burned on both Shame and Supra. That's something that SoaR are going to take note of. So look at them to kind of be looked at in these fights.
Trying to secure the Isis and the Cupid, and the Hui ultimate was utilized. It looks like secured by SoaR. Thor landing into the backline, forcing the Sanctuary out of SamBam. ElChapo running along. Pluck coming from Brochacho. He's going to disengage as well.
Oh, Brochacho. I don't know if he's going to be able to get out. You can see Shame trying to cut off his path. KeegsMate in the middle of 4, but I mean, they're so scared of this Cupid. Grattywind's got to have a pluck up soon here, but he can't find it, and it seems like Noble Esports don't want to push it any farther. They're just going to walk away with the red buff and lick their wounds.
They also got a tier 1 solo lane tower. Nice blink from Chapo, not able to find the knock-up. That would have been beautifully executed. Double taunt coming online. Cupid Heart Bomb being used. Just a little bit of poke.
Yeah, a little bit of poke. Not going to be enough follow-up. Oh, Shame.
Sanctuary.
Pops his Sanctuary. A little bit scared about getting hit by that Spirit Ball and the potential follow-up. And right now, SoaR looking really good. Shame going to Berserker's Barrage, secure one of those Harpies here, but he's got to be a little bit scared here. Grattywind taunted out, Heart Bombed as well, flipped up and rooted, and he's going to actually live as Yo-Yo's rotation locks down one. Uzzy could does finish off Grattywind in the back line. However, the team of SoaR getting chased under their tower. SamBam, I mean, he's not going to be able to get out of this one, but yoyoabc is pushed off eventually. Lou picks up the kill.
2 for nothing so far. Chapu finding a nice double taunt. Shame doesn't have Sanctuary. He's going to fall 2 for 1. Curse being used, as well as the ultimate from Uzzy. KeegsMate is going to get stunned for 2 seconds with that double Chang'e hit, and that should be a clean disengage. So far, it's been a 2 for 2 exchange.
I mean, that was just SamBam being more effective. I mean, every time we've looked over that soul lane, Uzzy's been forced to ult or pushed under tower, but now SoaR, once again, a 3-man taunt. There comes the Fields of Love, the Tiger Stun. yoyoabc overhead kicks a fair amount of damage, and actually dives onto KeegsMate. He's trying to heal up, but he's up against a wall. Lou, Ricochet probably going to be online soon, and look at the team just body blocked for Brochacho. The Athena gonna get out just barely. There's so much poking going on between both these teams.
KeegsMate getting poked out by the Hui. Looks like there wants to be a pressure from the mid lane from Noble, and they should be able to get it. It's only KeegsMate available. El-Chapo is on the right-hand side doing his speed buff, so...
Not enough minions, though.
They're just going to concede it. They could have potentially tried to get more damage on that tower.
That would have been... Yeah, but it's always risky. They don't know that Chapo's doing his speed in that spot, I guess.
They did know that both of his relics were down. He used the blink earlier on, trying to force the engage with the ultimate from the Athena, which would have been really nice had that knock-up connected onto the Sobek.
It was so close. It was just so close. The Sobek was actually already looking that way. I think if he's escaping, he gets knocked up there. But they're looking for the Sobek once again. There's the counter ward bait. He's going to be taunted, and it's just poke for now. There's the knock-up, and the sprint popped by Brochacho, but they got Grattywind ult again. I mean, that's never up for these team fights.
They also get the ward onto the top left mid-harpy. So SoaR just trying to get a map positional control. Red buff has respawned, and this is something SoaR is setting themselves up for before. That little poke exchange was to set themselves up for the red buff.
And
I mean, gets it anyway.
Yeah, they tried at least. I mean, they
were thinking about it.
They're pretty intelligent when it comes to that, right? You could see them just kind of setting around the corner. They're really trying to abuse the instant Athena CC, right? It's like, we're going to put a ward there, we're going to bait someone around the corner, and then we're just going to taunt them. And right, they're not even looking necessarily for the kills. They're just getting so much poke, baiting these ultimates, baiting these relics to make the next team fight easier.
And Noble has to respect the way Brochacho is playing this Athena. They need to spread out a little bit more. These last 2 taunts have been so crucial. Nice triple double taunts from Brochacho earlier on.
And I mean, he's got his dash charge up again, and the team is grouped up, but he's not going to dash into the tower. A little bit worried about that. Just going to go get a little bit of farm on the left-hand side, as you can see Cupid remains in the middle. So extra farm for your support. I mean, they're always going to love that. I mean, level 17 Cupid, he's 4-0-4. He doesn't really need it.
Not at all. It also looks like the right side mid-harpy is going to get started from Yo-Yo. Uzzy trying to find a Spirit Bolt, not on the mark, though.
They baited Hou over to left-hand side, and Athena can ult in if they really want to force this. But it doesn't seem like they are.
Gold Fury is respawning in about a minute and a half. Both teams are going to try to set themselves up for it. Nice defensive sentries coming online for Noble around the Gold Fury, making sure there's no aggressive wards from SoaR, so they can safely rotate towards the Gold Fury.
Without having to worry about getting in. And I love decisions like that, right? I also love, I think one of my favorite one is like when you know you're not going to be able to get control at Gold Fury to counter, as you put it on... Kind of like if you're Noble, you would put it at that 3-way marker, right below the Gold Fury. So if someone wards the Gold Fury, it's not going to be in range.
But you can see,
if they pull it against the wall.
That's right. Sometimes if you put the ward inside the Gold Fury pit and it gets pulled, sometimes you won't even see the Gold Fury being pulled. So it's a little bit of a disadvantage. You're trying to get the ward on top of it. So obviously if a melee character pulls the Gold Fury, you'll see it, but a range character, not all the time.
It's not always about like necessarily seeing that where everyone is. Taunt in the mid lane though, 2-man Spirit Ball follow-up. And once again, the target's at Grattywind, but he actually is going to manage to find Chapo, but the Purification going to keep him healthy. Sprint was popped as well.
So Hearts are going to keep the members of SoaR up to par, as we do have Yo-Yo backing right now. I'm not sure if he has his teleport available to him for this Gold Fury.
Look at this healing. 3,800 from the Cupid right now, and it just a little bit over.
6,000 for Chang'e, though. Yeah. That's a lot at this stage of the game.
And you could see teleport coming in from Uzzy, but also teleport in from yoyoabc, running into 3 and the double tap over the wall. Trouble for Chapo. He's going to have to get out of this fight early. He wanted to stay inside. And once again, yoyoabc going to be chasing down SoaR members. This is a really good fight off the back of this Ravana.
And now they're going to stun out Grattywind, another heart bomb. Just going to try to find somebody on Uzzy, but Uzzy's just going to cleanly disengage. Noble not wanting to position themselves for the escape. Instead, they're going to try to bait out SoaR into this Gold Fury. A lot of cooldowns were used for SoaR, as well as the Purification, as Chapu has to back. The Athena ultimate was used, so this should be a clean kill, potentially.
Yeah, someone's got to zone or fight, and the call is fight. Gold Fury reset. However, they're not going to chase them deep enough, and instead they just reset the Gold Fury to 60%. This is given time for Chapo and Brochacho to make their way back into this. Maybe a mistake from Noble. The Hou Yi ult to zone here. Uzzy going forward. Uzzy very low. 2 seconds on it. And it's going to be SoaR stealing away the Gold Fury somehow. Uzzy coming up big. KeegsMate finds Grattywind as well. And then knock up in the pullback. yoyoabc, welcome to the team fight.
That's going to be it for Yo-Yo. Unless he can somehow utilize that Thor wall, but no, he's going to fall. So second victim from Noble going to go down. And with that meditation, the healing from SoaR, with the meditation, with the Cupid hearts as well, they're going to be able to push this tier 1 tower 5v3.
4,500 lead. It's going to be 5K after this. There are 2 members left here to defend, the Hou Yi and the Chang'e, as Thor makes his way to base. But I mean, they're not really going to be able to do anything. A nice double bounce, but Chapo just going to laugh it off and walk back. No, actually going for the tier 2 as well.
They have the Athena dash taunt, and that's exactly what they're going to use, forcing the Purification. Uzzy is going to be aggressive as well. Chang'e is going to disengage. Thor going up into the sky, more than likely going to try to go on SamBam.
Oh, and he's got it as well. Circle protection is activated, so SamBam going to be able to heal up a little bit. But, I mean, he stayed in it for so long. The Thor wall, though, actually favoring SoaR because of that.
That double tap. SamBam trying to disengage away. Lou doing a beautiful double tap. However, with the hearts from Keegs, going to be able to pick it up for themselves. SamBam just wants to disengage.
Oh,
nice pluck.
The pluck. But it was against the Thor wall once again. I mean, these Thor walls have helped out SoaR more than I'd say Noble. However, they do answer back tier 1 for tier 1, so they get at least something.
And that's what they needed. They tried to get the Gold Fury. They were hesitating a little bit too much. They had a 5-on-3 advantage on the Gold Fury. They forced out Chapu and Brochacho at the beginning, and they kept trying to chase kills instead of just allowing SoaR to be the ones going into them with the Gold Fury.
And they also took way too long to zone. I mean, Uzzy, by the time he was getting zoned, it was 4%, and then he just, we didn't see exactly what he stole it with, but like maybe even just a cudgel, just perfectly timing it. I mean, yoyoabc played that the fight before the Gold Fury so well, right? He teleports into the Gold Fury pit itself, and he isolates like 3 carries on SoaR, pushes them back. Meanwhile, the rest of Noble can poke out Chapo. They can poke out Brochacho as well. And like you said, they had that advantage. No kills, but just force them back to base, and then it's kind of wasted.
Noble needs to commit more than anything else. They need to utilize their player advantages when they have them. They can't allow SoaR to be the ones dictating the pace of this game, especially with a player advantage. Going to have a taunt into more damage onto Grattywind, trying to secure their own sentry ward, as there's going to be a lot of aggression onto the solo lane side. Noble needs to find a way to either defend this tower or look for something somewhere else.
And you can see Uzzy is actually the one that's going to be making sure no other towers get pushed. He's on the left-hand side, has the teleport. Brochacho going to look for the taunt, but I mean, yoyoabc burns his ult for that. I don't even know if that's worth in that situation.
He was pretty safe under his own tier 1 tower. He wasn't at the edge. Tier 1 does fall. SoaR does confirm that, extending their lead a little bit. Shame taking up to the sky, looking for somebody. Yo-Yo in a lot of trouble.
He's got him lined up. He's got him lined up, and he's going to find a 2-man stun. There comes the Hou Yi Suns over the top as well, and Lou takes out one, but KeegsMate responds with shame. Now Chapo getting isolated in the back line. Supra takes him out, and now it's going to be KeegsMate knocked up. Purification way too late. There's the Soul Eater to keep him alive in the Sanctuary as well to delay it, but I mean, there's just so much CC. Lou needs one more hit, and just Supra and Shame combining for so much control, and Noble finally get a fight in their favor.
The issue with that is the fact that the Uzzy was in there. He didn't have his teleport available to him at the time, just wanting to split push onto the dual lane side of things instead of rotating to that team fight.
I mean, who's that in favor of, right? A tier 1 and a 3 for 2? Or a 2 for 3?
The fact was SoaR got the tier 1 before the team fight began, so it was a 1-for-1 tower, and the team fight unless Grattywind falls here, then it would be in SoaR's favor.
I mean, he's pretty tanky right now, and with Lee around the corner, I don't think they want to chase too deep. And Grattywind's going to be fine, level 14, 0-5 and 7 though. I mean, he's been kind of getting focused fairly heavily. I think if we were able to see damage taken kind of at the end scoreboard, he's definitely going to be high up there.
does have the Pestilence available, trying to negate the healing from the Isis. So he wants to play aggressive, but he needs to watch out because he's under-leveled. The way Brochacho was playing these teamfights in the early game, favoring him now in terms of the levels. So Grattywind needs to be careful with his positioning.
And he's level 14, like a 3-level difference in supports. I mean, that's pretty massive. I mean, Brochacho is actually higher level than SamBam.
As an Athena support too, that's brutal.
I mean, just look at his build. He's almost full build. We're 27 minutes in as a support. He needs to finish off 2 more items. And he's still, I mean, he's tanky enough as is. I mean, Brochacho's almost never going to die with how built he is at this moment.
And with those items, he's going to play even more confident that he's already been playing the way the earlier game.
And look at that. You know, you normally don't think about Athena for damage, right, unless she's in solo, unless you're connecting on a ton of ultimates. We haven't really seen, you know, the setup where Athena's come down and hit these big, you know, multi-man ultimates and still more damage than both Shame and Grattywind.
Which is surprising coming from a jungle Thor. Now, if that was the support Thor, I would understand, but you generally want to be trying to set up your mid laner. But in this situation, Chang'e's kind of close to mid-range, where normally when you run Thor, you run with long-range poke, whether it's a Scylla, Isis, the Raijin, you're looking for the safe engage. And
yeah, and Chang'e kind of that massive frontliner. There's really not a lot of range onto Noble Esports. It's going to be relatively easy to kite them. And Lou just getting a free Gold Fury. SoaR not recognizing that they were missing a member here. And they're going to be starting up the Fire Giant in response. So even though Noble got that Gold Fury, they're not going to be able to spin that gold for anything.
Not quite yet, but it's still an even game. SoaR trying to force members from Noble out of position. And the first person to peek around the corner is going to be Yo-Yo, spotting it out, disengaged from SoaR onto the Fire Giant, trying to find somebody with a taunt, not going to connect though.
Yeah, the team wants a team fight. They don't necessarily want the Gold Fury, but the first to act is going to be Grattywind. Chapo thrown away, and there's his escape as well. And Shame's in the sky. He's going to be looking for this jungler, but he's hugging the wall, and Shame can't read exactly where he is. Still doing a fair amount of damage, but it's a 2v1 on the left-hand side, and Shame realizes that he needs to get out of this fight.
And going to regroup with his team, trying to get healed up. Uzzy going to have to use the bird form away. He's in a little bit of trouble, but his team is allowing him to disengage.
This is actually a really good fight, and SoaR kind of just kiting around Noble exactly how they want right now. Brochacho so tanky in the front line, and there's the blink from Chapo. The knockup, and over the top, it's the Field to Love. Sanctuary's going to help Lou, but he's going to be stunned out as well, and he's run straight into the Awilix, but he gets the knockup, and Supra finishes them off.
And Brochacho is trying to find somebody with a nice taunt to set up into the Isis, but it looks like Noble's just going to disengage, securing themselves that first pick, and going to heal up off of the Chang'e. And now they're going to need to put on more pressure. They have the advantage. Don't hesitate.
They also got the Gold Fury as well, but they haven't spent it just yet. The team is going to be grouped up here. Supra splitting off from his team, so he's not going to be able to keep them healthy on the cooldown of that. But like you said, doing exactly what they need to. Noble looking to find anything else they can right now. Grouping up maybe a tier 2 in the middle.
Which is definitely safer than Fire Giant at this point, because SoaR could still contest Fire Giant easily 4v5 at this stage.
Oh, KeegsMate going to get stunned out here. He's got his hearts though, and Yo-Yo to the backline, going to be looking for those carries. KeegsMate forced to run away, and this is just pushing SoaR off this tier 2, and it's going to go over to Noble.
And it's going to come landing down on top of Uzzy. Shame's going to disengage with a nice hammer. Not going to find the taunt unless somebody turns around. Yo-Yo might get taunted. Looking for someone else instead.
Brochacho wants to, but he needs to wait for his team. Chapo's just come off of death. You can see Yo-Yo just in the front line here. He's going to absorb a lot of that poke, and that's what Noble want. They got their frontliner that's absorbing all these abilities right now. Uzzy isolated. He's going to find the stun onto Grattywind, but he's going to run into the rest of the team if he keeps chasing.
Chang'e going to keep everybody a little bit topped off. Beautiful overhead kick from Yo-Yo, making sure he wasn't going to get taunted into SoaR.
And he's just like baiting out those taunts as much as he can. He wants to be taunted because it seems like Yo-Yo is very confident in his reaction time and kind of his readability on when Brochacho is going to taunt him.
Look at the healing, 15,000 from Chang'e.
That's really underestimating. And that's also to the effect of he's gone into this Spirit's Robe and this Obsidian Shard, right? The Obsidian Shard is a great item, don't get me wrong, but I mean, it's not like penetration doesn't help it, right?
It's not a healing
it's just
item.
A 70
It's
magical.
not Rod of Asclepius.
Yeah, if you get Rod in that spot instead, I mean, that's going to be even a higher amount of healing. And that's something I do expect to see somewhere in Supra's build.
It would be nice.
The health, the movement speed, it's so good.
You can't go wrong with it. The mobility, it provides you, especially the fact that every time you use an ability, you get a little bit more movement speed. So adding on top of that would be nice to position yourselves around the aggression from SoaR.
I mean, it's also going to help the healing coming out from Ravana as well. Not only the meditation, but just in his kit. So, I mean, I know Aurora is pretty big on that, where he's like, he picks it up on his supports just for like double meditation and like Hunter lifesteal.
Gonna get taunted Yo-Yo into a Spirit Ball, taking more than half of his health. The Heart Bomb's gonna force the ultimate away. Now Yo-Yo does have teleport, so if SoaR does force this Fire Giant, they always have to watch out their backline from Yo-Yo, but there's no ward from Noble on the back.
He's gonna have to TP into the tower here, and I think he's yelling at his team, and now he's got a ward. It was placed at the mid camp, so he's actually coming around the back of KeegsMate, but instead actually switches position. Shame's in the sky, he's gonna come down, finds two members here, and quickly disengages as Chapo dives him deep into the back line here, and there comes the circle protection, and there's just so many circles up top. Grattywind finds KeegsMate, plucks him back in, and KeegsMate is so low. Grattywind trying to get the damage off, and he does just before he falls. Spirit Ball, max range from SamBam, finishes him off.
Nice taunts to set up that Spirit Ball. Lou finding Chapo, so 2 for 1 in the favor of Noble. 3 for 1 so far. Now Noble, with a commanding player advantage, going to try to force this Fire Giant after clearing the ward.
And Athena ult is down as well, so he can't rely on, you know, channeling on to Uzzy to get that in. Uzzy's going to come in. He stole 1 Gold Fury so far. He's unknown. Now he's going to recognize it. A great route. He was trying to get the Tiger stun on low, which is perfect timing. And the 2-man taunt, though, into the fire pits. And it's going to be hard for Brochacho to make it in here. Fire Giant is secured, and now Brochacho is running away as best he can, but rooted in place, nowhere to go, and it's going to be a deicide.
Frostbound Hammer on top of the Ravana. There's nowhere the Athena to go, and now with that Fire Giant, tier 2 on the solo lane side of things, Noble coming back into this game. They were behind about 4,000 gold. Now they're up almost 4,000 gold.
I mean, look at that. That was all like the first dip you see. That's probably about like what 29 minutes in. That's when Lou solos the Gold Fury. After that, Noble win a small fight, and then they've just climbed back into this game in just the last 4 to 5 minutes off of these engagements that have just gone in their favor, and a lot of it's coming down to kind of their big circles. I mean, SamBam is relying on that circle protection to keep him alive, and it's just not.
The way they position themselves, Noble, for that team fight, Shame went into the backline, forced an early purification from SamBam, and he had to disengage off of that, just taking too much damage. Shame also baiting himself a little bit, looking at the Mantle of Discord. He absorbed a lot of cooldowns when he went in, so that allowed the rest of his teammates to take advantage.
And now Noble with that Fire Giant and a couple thousand gold lead, they're going to start to be able to siege up the remaining towers. And it's going to be the last one for them on the left-hand side. Brochacho in the front line, looking for the taunt, but he's going to get stunned out and double-tapped. And actually a full commit onto Lou, who's going to pop his Sanctuary. Still gets mezzed out, but the meditation will heal him up. Shame's not going to land on anyone.
He will. I would.
Who's he going to land on? Actually, right down, Uzzy. Uzzy in the front line by himself. There's the pluck, though. yoyoabc, but he's so tanky, it doesn't matter. And Ho-Yi all going to split the fight up. Sprint is popped just to keep everyone alive. But once again, SamBam, he's sitting inside that circle protection while the rest of his team is getting away. And he's going to be chased down, rooted, and he's going to be finished off by Lou because of it.
So 2-for-0 trade. Fire Giant on 4 members on Noble. This should be a left side Phoenix, no problem. KeegsMate not having his ultimate available to him, so... And now he's forced to purify away.
Yeah, and a little bit of poke on the Shame there. Actually, a fair amount of poke. And Brochacho's going to find a 4-man taunt. But, I mean, who's going to do the damage to kill the people he taunted? No one.
And with that, he's going to fall as well. Brochacho taking the spill. 3 members dead on the side of SoaR. Noble looking like they want to try to find another pick. Going to be barely off the mark from the charge prey.
Oh, Chapo's got Blink here, but he's very low and stunned out. Double tap not on the mark here. KeegsMate pushback as well. And now Noble are going to be looking at this Phoenix. They're very low, but they still have the healing from Super. I mean, they could just group up on cooldown.
Especially with the Fire Giant sustain as well. Gonna find the pull on top of yoyoabc. Nice overhead kick, but he might fall to the Heart Bomb. Just barely surviving. Shame landing on top of Uzzy. KeegsMate gonna fall, and now looks like Noble are running away with this one.
Grattywind very low, but he's gonna be able to escape. Yo-Yo still hanging around, and Lou gonna be looking at the Phoenix, but he needs to be careful because Shame is tanking it up. It's been switched off, and a max range Spirit Ball gonna find the stun, but Lou's still fine. Chapo jumping in by himself. Gonna find the Feather Step and turned on.
Just barely not able to find the kill on top of Shame. It would have been nice to get a 1-for-1 trade. When you're behind, you want to trade 1-for-1, especially with a Thor that can easily set up with a Tectonic Rift.
And yoyoabc teleports back in after heading to base, so he's gonna be full health and mana. There's the circle protection, but I mean, it's just not absorbing a lot of damage, and SamBam by himself just chased down, slowed, pops the Sanctuary just to get into the fountain that was a foot away, and here comes the Titan and Noble Esports. Seems like they're going to find an upset here in game 1 at least, and SoaR who looked really strong. They're bleeding a little bit so far.
It was just a beautiful play, taking advantage of the aggression from SoaR. SoaR was playing so beautifully in the mid game with Brochacho finding those taunts. They just couldn't run away with it the way they needed to. They found beautiful triple-double taunts, forcing early purifications, ultimates as well defensively. They just couldn't find the Gold Furies.
And for me, like, it was, once Noble climbed back into the game, it was just those Chang'e heals. Like, it's not a lot, but when you have that, the Spirit's Robe 10%, and then the 20% from the Cronus Pendant as well. I mean, those heals just keep coming and coming and coming, and we saw him add it up. He probably broke, you know, 20K, maybe 25,000 healing at the end of the game. And then honestly, it was those multi-man stuns where SoaR was grouped up. Those seemed to be the fights that went in favor of Noble, when Supra could find 2 or 3 members in his ultimate.
And Keegs, even though he had the healing early on, it just wasn't enough in the late game.
No, not at all.